Welcome back to SportsBit. I'm here with Clay Travis from Fox Sports Radio. And Clay, I always enjoy getting a chance to talk with someone that has more than 25 times my Twitter following.
Well, probably 25 times the hate, maybe 100,000 times the hate too. That's par for the course, but I think that I have the best job in America. I mean that honestly. I'm not sure what somebody could offer me that I would turn over my job for. Now, there's people who make more money than I do, but in terms of getting out of bed and having the gig that I do, I just feel like I have to pinch myself every day. So if people say mean things to me online every now and then, that's par for the course. How
do you deal with the haters? Do you, I mean, because that's something that as a public figure you have to deal with probably on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's private hate, right? I've never had a negative word said to me face to face. So I think I've always kind of contemplated it as being the equivalent of WWE, right? People want to react largely and loudly and grab the mic, and Twitter is basically an open mic for everyone. And so there's a large degree of artificiality and show associated with it. But, you know, look, I have learned along the way that you can't have people really like you unless you also have people really hate you. And really what we're in the battle of today in media, I think, is not love versus hate, although those are important, but interest versus disinterest. And for whatever reason, I think I have a skill in being able to get people interested in what I say. And that's my job, right? To be as interesting as I possibly can on a day-to-day basis. Some people will love me. Some people will hate me. Hopefully, as many people as possible will pay attention.
That's the key.
Yeah,
you're allowed to have the haters as long as they watch and listen.
And
it's
they
the same thing on SportsBit. Yeah.
Even more so. You know, I mean, initially when I first got on social media, that was what astounded me. I was like, this is amazing, right? That somebody's football team can just have won the biggest game of the year. And that fan is not choosing to drink another beer or try to persuade his wife or girlfriend to sleep with him in celebration or just run down the street and go call his buddies and text them. The number of people who immediately get on social media and are like, hey, fuck you, Clay Travis. How in the world did you get this game wrong? I mean, that's their first way that they want to celebrate. The Clemson hadn't won a national title since 1980. I expected Alabama to beat Clemson, right?
Me and you both, yeah.
Okay, so I lost a decent amount of money for me betting on that game. I felt pretty good at the half, by the way. I
felt pretty good going in the fourth quarter. Yeah. How many double-digit leads did Alabama blow in the fourth quarter?
Not very many. I've been to a lot of those games. So I'm standing there on the sideline. My phone absolutely explodes. And the same thing had happened a couple of years ago when Ohio State beat Alabama in the title game. There was 25 million people. But those teams, especially Clemson, had not won a title in most of the people's lifetimes who were on social media. And it blew me away that the first way that they wanted to celebrate their title was not by saying, like, oh, my God, Clemson's back. This is amazing. This might be the only time in our life that Clemson ever wins a title. Who knows? It's hard to win a title. And instead, they wanted to go to me and say, like, hey, fuck you, Clay Travis. I told you that we were going to beat Alabama. And I'm like, initially, when I first started in social media, that blew me away. As I got more used to it, I recognized that it's you becoming a part of the story to them. Right? I'm not a player. I'm not an athlete on the field by any stretch of the imagination. But they are so wrapped up in the game that they want as many opinions about the game as possible. And they basically view me as a partisan of the game in some way.
Sure.
And it's great for what I do.
Well, I mean, part of the celebration is telling Clay Travis to fuck off because he got the wrong side.
But how funny is that? That the first title they've won in almost 40 years, and the way that you celebrate is by getting on the internet, going to find a stranger and telling him, fuck you, see, we beat Alabama. I just.
But the thing is, you're not a stranger.
Yeah. To them, that's right. I am a, you know, the internet has this ability to make everyone seem accessible. And I think for the benefit of the internet, what it does is ultimately it's going to reveal who you are. And so what I try to do every day, ever since I started on the internet, certainly involving social media, I boiled it down to, you know, kind of an acronym, SOFA. I want to be smart, original, funny, and authentic. And if you can do all four of those things every day, then I think you win, and that develops more and more people who pay attention to what you do, and I think that works.
SOFA. I'm writing that down.
SOFA. Smart, original, funny, and authentic. Now, sometimes I fail, but if you can pull it off on a day-to-day basis, if you can do that in, like I said, in every article or every day, if I sit down in front of the mic and talk on Fox Sports Radio as honestly as I possibly can, then it's a win.
Well, let's talk about the authenticity factor, because in my mind, that is the biggest key to developing a broad audience.
Yes.
Is that people have to think you're real and not full of shit, that you're not putting on a facade for them.
Yeah.
You seem to pull that off as well as anybody I've ever seen. How do you do it?
Because what I have said before, and I would probably hope that Zach, who works where we're hanging out right now, and anybody who's spending a little bit of time with me, I would want them to think Clay Travis sounds the exact same on television or radio or in his written columns as he does in person. So what I try to do is eliminate, there's never been anything that I've ever said or written that I wouldn't say or write hanging out with people at a bar, right? And so I want my conversation with my audience to be the exact same as it would be my conversation with my friends, as close as I can possibly get. And I think with Periscope and Facebook Live in particular, what they offer is that degree of authenticity. You know, a lot of guys who work in TV, they say, oh, when I watch your show, there's no bells and whistles. It's you sitting down with a billboard behind you in your house, right? Talking about anything. Like we just did a show today where I talked about Game of Thrones getting leaked, an episode from season 7. I talked about Colin Kaepernick. I talked about the crocodiles down in Costa Rica. And I talked about, you know, all of those things kind of rolled in together. And that's the kind of authentic, right? And so what I try to do is talk about sports, but also talk about what everybody cares about, which can be other things in sports.
Clay Travis, right here on Sports. We'll have more with Clay coming up in part 2.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.